This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
I see her off the way, I seek her of the fullness in the future of the clay. These hands are rough and the purpose to create from a mind unconfined that is designed to calculate, intuiting of the essence, awareness of the present of each individual part, master of the mind space, mason of the landscape. With intelligence she access from the heart. A spiritual woman is the greatest threat to the status quo.
And welcome to another edition of Guardian Radio today with your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Winius III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. It is a Friday, TGIF for some. I am very happy to have you all here with us on 96.9 Guardian Radio, fresh news, smart talk all day. And today we have another special show lined up for you. This, like I said, is Women's Month, but every month is Women's Month here on Guardian Radio. And Tuesday we had a special guest that kind of got the ball rolling with regard to introducing us to a women's conference that'll be taking place the end of the month. That is March 27th, Friday, March 27th, and Saturday, March 28th. And so I wanted to make sure that people have enough time to learn about this conference so that they can make time in their schedule. It's free, so you don't have to put no coins together. I mean, we'll take them if you got them, but we want to make sure you're in the house. And so today, the topic of discussion is the African-centered rebranding of Proverbs 31. You know, we always hear about the Proverbs 31 woman, and we want to make sure that we're looking at it from an African-centered perspective. And so our guest today is none other than Dr. Nicole M. Ford. She's a clinical psychologist. We know her as the Conscious Counselor. She's also the host of a wonderful podcast called Melanin Minds. And she's a student at Church of the Black Messiah. My sister, how are you doing today, Namastu?
What's Namastu? What's going on in the 242?
Hey, we here. We doing it. We here. How you been, man? I haven't spoken to you in...
Been fair. I've been very good, very good.
Excellent.
But I just want to go ahead and make a small correction.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm a clinical counselor, because I don't want people coming from me.
I got you.
Come for you on social media.
I got you. Let me put that in my notes. Clinical counselor. Yes, indeed. That's important to note. This wonderful event that we're having, I just want to make sure people know when it is, and they can go to journeyhomegroup.com to get information, correct?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Yes, they can. It is our wonderful Ladies of Purpose, right? Mm-hmm. We are definitely coming this year with a wonderful theme in which we're going to be definitely talking about the Proverbs 31 woman, but we're going to be talking about the importance of it, how you say that African-centered, the need for us to come together, looking at it through those Bahamian eyes, Trinidad eyes, African eyes as people melanated, so we can tell our story. Yeah. And it first starts, once again, with the man, woman, and child, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's important that we have this conversation today.
Yes, indeed. So we got the conversation started earlier this week with Sister Azandi Ashanti Ali. And so we're going to continue this conversation because what's important is for us to heal. And you're a clinical counselor, so I'm sure you see the trauma on a daily basis. And so I want to start today's conversation. I'm just looking for a quote from one of your mentors, a passive mentor, BB, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. She's one of those great, now an ancestor of ours who really looked heavily at the trauma within the family and in our community. But she says that systems of racial domination depend heavily on psychological conditioning. If oppressed populations are taught narratives that conceal the mechanisms of power, they may internalize their subordinate position as natural or inevitable. In your work, as you help people daily, do you find that just on a daily, or not just women, but just in general people, are they internalizing a lot of the misinformation and things that ultimately become self-hate? Do you see that, and how is this conference geared toward addressing that reality amongst our people?
Unfortunately, I do, right? The great thing about Dr. Wilson, and we understand, we had, saints, you can go to Catholicism and they have their saints, and we have our saints.
Yes, our
here at the
Latter-day
Holy
Saints.
Coptic Church, and we call them saints because of the works they did for the whole, the things they did. And one of the things she always would be straight up about is just like the mental impact of colonialization. She would always talk about how many family issues come from internalized beliefs that are shaped by these systems, right? And these systems either they overburden, women, they devalued men, and they made sure that our stability, quote unquote, was always associated with some type of European. So it led to a confusion of our roles and identity because, just living in the Bahamas when you all got independence in 1973, that even though colonialism isn't practiced outright, it left its structures, its systems, but most importantly, it left its mindset. It left its mindset.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And when it did that, right, it affected, we have the high rate of single parent households, right? We have men who have been disempowered. We have women who have taken on a lot of financial and emotional, responsibilities.
Yeah.
And all of these are due to this, how our family structures were disrupted.
Right.
And so she addresses that.
Yes, she does. This conference, as people, make their minds up to join us, what I want people to understand is what it is that they potentially are going to hear or be able to even ask if they have the opportunity. Those things that you mentioned, the ailments within the Black family. Where do we start? Because I was talking to a young lady today, and she was on the phone with her cousin, and they were having this. It was a conversation. We were laughing, but it wasn't funny because the trauma and the way the way we Black people we end up laughing at a lot of our trauma, right?
Yes,
but
we do.
in many instances, we don't even know where to start. Where do we start, Dr. Ford?
Oh, that is such a great question. Yeah. And it's always, it comes to the bottom line that if you don't correct the mind, we're going to continue to reproduce the same level of dysfunction. Even the Bible even talks about the renewing of the mind. Right. And so that means that we have to learn and start to be amongst communities and organizations and church homes that's going to help us to re-educate our families about identity and history. Right? We have to start with our children and kind of teach self-worth early, teach, their success early, teach racial pride early, because we all had grandmas. We had a grandma, you got a grandma, the drug dealer got a grandma too.
That's true. That's true.
You see what I'm saying? The gangster got a grandma too.
That's right.
and our grandma took us to church, and the gangster went to church too,
Yep. That's
and the
true.
drug dealer was right there with us
That is
too.
so true.
And we was all praying, and we had our hands up in front of us, and we was all amen, and we all continued on in our life. But the one thing that our grandmothers didn't taught us, they might have been like, be proud, but in the process of it, our grandparents, our families, you know, we wasn't taught racial pride.
Mm.
We wasn't taught, the importance of that. And there's studies, Yale studies, Pittsburgh universities, that shows that Black children, when they're taught racial pride, that they do great academically. They have success because they understand who and what I am.
Mm.
Right. And so
That's
we have to
important.
kind of clear this up. And so we have to start addressing how to have that healthy communication again. We got to
Hmm.
get to talking, y'all.
Mm. Yeah, because
And not just,
sorry,
Mhm.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, on Tuesday, I didn't get to all of the texts that were coming our way, but this idea of race kept coming up. People like, well, why does race matter? I mean, we're talking about trauma, we're talking about the Black family or whatever, but why y'all keep mentioning race? But you said that there's studies.
Mhm.
So people are studying how race or how we learn about race affects us. I just want to be clear. I want you to kind of dig in on that point because we didn't touch it the last show, but I want to touch it on this show. Say that again and give us some more insight into the fact that there are people who study whether or not Black children, how they respond when they learn about their race and their culture. Please.
The good thing about it, right? Because we always talk about, train up the child, train
Mm-hmm.
up the child the way they should go,
Mm-hmm.
right? And in the process of training up the child, when we're looking at the historical nature of how racism has been globalized, one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that has been globalized is the reality is they came with, the bullet,
Yes. Yes.
they came with the bullet in the Bible. Even though we were coerced or we were forced into systems that removed our identity, removed our culture, removed indigenous people, relocated them to different places to dominate them and have access to their resources. This is a
Mm.
legacy that still exists up until today, and still it's trauma, intergenerational
Right.
trauma.
Right.
And so when these systems are looking, because the system is working well for some people,
Right.
it really is working well for some people,
Right.
but from other people, it's not working well. And the people that it's not working well for looks like you and me,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The people it's not working well for is our children.
Mm.
And so when we're at a place where we have to look at these shame-based narratives we've been given to internalize this inferiority of you black, you brown, this level of self-hate, people are looking at how to maintain that because a lot of these unfortunate but true European nations, they don't have the same resources,
Mm.
right? I was just looking at I was looking at something on Facebook where it was talking about like the coastline of Bahamas,
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking about how we got to preserve the coastline and preserve these natural resources.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, and I was just like, okay, but most of those natural resources were not exploited by the Bahamian people.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah, we gotta
It just
learn. We gotta learn how to how to benefit from our own resources. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So when you're looking at race, when you're looking at these racism, white supremacy is a real thing. And it
Mm.
doesn't require a white person to be present to utilize it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a system. It's a system that is seen in healthcare. It's a system that's seen in education. For example, when you just look at whether it's America or even the Bahamas, just look at the curriculum
Yes.
that was left behind.
Yes.
When did we literally say, hey, thank you, Brits, for this education system, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to change it
Mm-hmm.
now
Mm-hmm.
to benefit our narrative so we can go ahead and learn STEM and be able to, have independence and rule, not just in name only.
Right. Right. Not
So
just
all of
in
these
name
things are,
only. Yes.
yeah. So
Yes.
we got to have some clear expectations of what that means and to be proud of it. And that is the great thing about this conference, right? Because this conference is talking about, once again, the woman coming back into her state of mind and her state of being as a liberator, right?
Wow. Wow.
That's important in that ancient African liberation wisdom. That's the book of Proverbs.
Right.
That is reinforcing those Black intellectual wisdom and traditions that we all know, but we have to just reestablish and reconnect to.
Because we, you know, in the Bahamas, in many instances, we come out of a tradition where women, now we see some women in the pulpit or in leadership positions. But generally speaking, there's still a mindset that says, you know, women learn at home, be quiet. You know, don't definitely you can't be no pastor. You can't be no bishop. You can't be somebody who actually leading the flock. You can't do that. But you just said the woman as a liberator.
Mm-hmm.
Explain that. What, I mean, are we saying that women are liberators over men or with men, or what are we saying?
We are talking about liberating. We're going to first start because, once again, the great thing about Frances Quest Wilson, the great thing about Amos Wilson, the great thing about even Alvin Poussaint, the guy who did who's the psychiatrist on the Cosby Show, right? He was he was an actual psychologist, and he went to Harvard, and he is from Haiti. He was a Haitian American. And he would often talk about the importance of making sure psychologically that these roles were of benefit, right, to Black and brown people, right? And so he would put Claire, the mom, right, in a role where she was not only an economic producer, right? She is also a community organizer. She was a moral teacher. She's a strategic planner, right? She's very clear. Like Michelle Obama, she used to be like, call me a mom in chief.
Wow. Yes. I remember
right?
that. Yes.
That this liberation starts with the first teacher is in the home, in the womb, as you're carrying in this child. Right? And so these actions, in order to do that as we have our children, as a melanated mom, is critical that we understand not just ancestral history, that we understand we pass along cultural values and traditions, but most importantly, communal responsibility. So this is an everyday thing.
Right. Right.
But when I'm saying liberation, I'm also talking about it in the home, outside the home, the woman in the marketplace, that woman in Proverbs 30:31, right? She is using her skills for the benefit of her family, not just for herself. And so when we move from a state of European individualism, I got my own money, I got my own car, I don't need no man. That's not true. Have you seen our babies? We need mothers and fathers to learn how to cooperate and work together as a unit again.
My Lord, say that again. That's so true. Yes, and you know, this type of conversation, you know, I'm gonna do my best to keep this type of conversation at the forefront of all of our listeners, because we as a nation, like, everybody thinks is only happening in their country, right? And when we look at the trauma and we look at the different, but as I talk, because we're a global church and we talk to each other, this is happening in Bahamas. This is happening in Trinidad, in the United States, in London, in Liberia, in Ghana. It's a global system. And so this type of conversation is so necessary, because we got to begin the healing. So that's why I asked you, where do we start? And you know, the idea that there is a conference that is addressing this and so much more is so important to us. I see we got some callers starting to chime in or want to chime phone lines. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259 in the family of islands, 242-300-5720. Of course, that's toll free. And the Guardian Radio text line is powered by BTC. And that number is 422-4796. That's 422-4796. Of course, we're also streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com, as well as Cable Bahamas 969 or BTC Flow Channel 612. Calling you live here on Guardian Radio today.
Hey, how y'all guys doing today?
Great, man. Thanks for calling.
excellent.
Hey.
Did you come up with a live location for the?
Not
No, you said,
not quite. By next week, I'll be able to give you the heads up on where that potentially is or where it is.
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
super. I just want to make a quick comment. One of the things I find very interesting is when people say, "Oh, why y'all got to make it about a race issue or color issue or so forth?" And most of the time, the people that are saying it looks like us. It really shows you how indoctrinated. I'm not, they don't understand that in order for you to appreciate where you are in life now, you have to understand where where you came from. And as far as most of us can see and understand and accept is, I'm Bahamian, but we don't understand how the path from which we came will continue to affect us even in the present and moving forward. And how some of these same colonial mindset and systems have embedded into our lives, and we feel like, okay, you know what? I don't need to worry about that anymore. That was then. This is now.
We free.
We
Yeah.
free. We be free. How enslaved we are based on, where we stand.
Yeah.
I one of the songs that I love to hear so much is Bob Marley's song. Do you know the song I'm talking about?
I'm trying to.
Emancipate
Okay. Yourself
yourself
tremendous.
from mental slavery.
Yeah.
None of us can free our mind.
Yes.
And if we sit down and we listen to that song is a gospel in itself.
Of course.
And if we can sit down and understand, it has nothing to do whether or not I think I'm better as a black man or you better as a white man. It has to help us understand the systems that we are engaged in and not even realizing that we're engaged in it and what it's actually doing, not only to us, but also to our families.
I appreciate the call,
Thank
man. Yes, indeed. Dr. Ford, you talked about the systems.
Yes.
Are we addressing that at all in this conference?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. But we also, when we're saying we're addressing it, right? We're addressing it by understanding that when it comes to that, the original books of the Bible, which is the ancient African version of the scriptures, right? A lot of times when it comes to scriptural readings, once again, they have been used in a colonial way. Not for our benefit, but for our detriment, right? And when you're looking at, we've benefited off of the black thing. We just have as a race, that had a respect for community. It was responsibility to family. We had discipline in speech and conduct and behavior. So you got examples of, Garvey. You got examples with Elijah Muhammad. You got examples with Winnie. You got examples of Martin, of people coming together and working together and having a community. So we've always stood for things that were black, that were one of the things, just to be fair, that sometimes we don't see the racism globally because a lot of us are focused on our local challenges. We focus on employment and education and housing. And so we don't see the global dimensions of racism and how it affects the clothing, the education, the housing, the employment, right? We don't see, right, when it comes to, our histories, that there are gaps. There's gaps in the education where we're not given that information. There's gaps in the media where our image is on TV, but no one asks Bahamian women, Bahamian man, is this the right image for you all?
Good point.
Right? And so a lot of times we have what's called like psychological defenses, where we have internalized these coping mechanisms sometimes that focus on our immediate survival. Rather than, this is the big picture, right? And so it's really important that when it comes to blackness, when it comes to us celebrating, that we not only have to be able to be in these black churches, be in these black mosques, be in these black synagogues, be in these black places of worship, we also need to have a black doctrine that matches it.
That's key. Yeah. And I don't know if a lot of people realize that it exists.
Yes.
It does
right?
exist.
That has your image, your likeness, your understanding, and seeing the world and scriptures through African eyes, and mouth. So we don't really realize that we've been programmed to reject blackness,
Wow.
right? They removed in the 90s, there were still a lot of positive shows
Yeah.
on TV, right? That really spoke about black families, that really gave the highlight of the black, perspective. That's a wonderful doctor by the name of Amos Wilson. He
Yes.
used to always talk about, economic disenfranchisement and how it affected black families, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he would always talk about, hey, Bahamas, we got to have entrepreneurship. We got to have business support and education. We have to have a strong economic foundations to help families withstand these pressures,
Right. Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we were taught through these shows when they started removing and taking away these shows through racism, white racism kind of kept growing and they
Mm-hmm.
kept putting this different image out. So they allowed, racism to kind of kill that black pride from
Mm-hmm.
the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about self-destruction.
That's right.
You had it we were doing that. That got removed. Now here come the reality shows. Here come the crack. The crack wasn't only in America.
That's right. That is true. We had it here too. Definitely. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
It was in Bahamas, it was in Brazil, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was in different, it was global,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And now, we have to sit and we're trying to navigate this. And once again, like the brother say, we got to look at all the parts,
Yeah.
not just one part.
Yeah.
So it's not just, why the sisters wearing hair like this? Or why the brothers, why they always clustered? Why they not working? Or why the children don't like themselves? And what's going on with it's a global
Yeah.
system. So we got to look at it in those different things. We say it's well, so what, right? Religion, economics, labor, sex, gender, entertainment,
Law.
law, war, security, politics.
And
We have to
entertainment.
look
Yep.
at the whole, basically all areas of people activity.
Right. 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 And so that's why, these type of conversations are so important. The more I speak to people, it's almost like this, scripture talks about the heart being waxed cold, like people are just apathetic, they don't feel like there is a real answer to the frustration and the lies and the miseducation they've been receiving for such a long time. But I see these phone lines lighting up, so let me get to some of these callers. Caller, you're live here on Guardian Radio today.
Oh, thank you, Uncle. Uncle, man, you're really doing it.
Thank
Dr.
you, man.
Ford.
What's up?
Yeah, listen, I need to find you, or I need to follow you. Maybe you could say that later because I'm going to record the show later on tonight and I'll hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But I appreciate what you're doing, Uncle, because, women were taught to stay at home.
Yeah.
But this thing that's been implanted in us as black people seem to have risen to the point where it's subduing us. It's sort of making us feel inferior. Sometimes we don't even want to speak.
No.
I have a young lady in my life. When I say young lady, I'm talking about someone who my mom used to babysit. Now she's a young lady.
Yeah.
And she writes very well. And I said, I could publish your work. Do you know she's afraid of being seen? She wants to stay in the dark. And I think she learned that from being black.
Wow.
And, but anyhow, but what I want to find out is this, is there any way, Dr. Ford, saying that we have a president who seems to find it convenient to make utterances and manipulate the market and make his friends wealthy in a matter of seconds. And us black people aren't in that vein because we are not in his cabinet, not in his purview where he's going to make a statement saying that I'm going to do this, and then all of a sudden Bitcoin goes up and everybody makes money except black people. So listen, is it possible saying that mothers first taught from out home, could we now teach the marketplace? Because there's $9 trillion that's moving every day that only apparently white people I have some African friends who do real good with trading. And the reason why they do is because that's all they do, and they realize this is our out. I'm asking you, is there any way we could teach black people to tap into this $9 trillion that's being manipulated by institutions, large hedge funds holders, insurance companies? See, this is where the money is. Are we able to reach our black people to tap into this market so that we become free financially?
Great
How do you
question.
feel about this, Dr. Ford?
Yes, 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 yes. The great thing about the Bible, right? And we do use the Bible because our people are in it, just like a baby. You know, you have to wean a baby off the milk to the meat.
Mm.
You don't just say, here,
Right.
2-year-old, here's some steaks and eggs,
No.
figure it out, right?
Right.
We gotta slowly move them over, right?
Mhm.
And so the great thing about when you look at, Isaiah 32, right?
Mhm.
I want to say it's around verse 9. It talks about, women. Women are told to rise up.
Mm.
Women are told to, tremble,
Mm.
due to the coming trouble. And
Mhm.
so when you're looking at these movements, when you're looking at the financial liberation, because that's what the brother is asking about,
Mhm.
a lot of times you see, for example, in America or in different places all over the world, you see people marching. And they marching and they're like, we don't want this and all this other stuff. Or Junkanoo, you see people marching down the street.
Mhm. Mhm.
But how about we go ahead and march to, the brothers in the community? How about we go march over to the basketball court and teach them boys how to play basketball
Mm.
and show them how basketball is an analogy for life,
Mm.
right? Show them that this basketball, right, it can be used to help you and connect that brotherly love. How about sisters? How about we go ahead and we march over and all the sisters that's social workers and teachers, and we march over and put our resources together and we purchase that building
Oh.
and we decide to create a charter school,
Mm.
right? Financially.
Mm.
Putting our resource together and say, we gotta get the people moving.
Mm. Lead by example.
Yes.
Okay.
See, so instead of waiting on somebody, okay, he doing what he doing. Once you realize, it's like a girlfriend you went on a date with, sir.
Mm.
You went on a date and sometimes it just don't match. Y'all not a match. You like, I'm not taking her out again. You like, I don't want to see you again. You don't keep wasting your time on her. You like, okay, what I gotta do?
Mm.
And you commence to putting in the work to do those things. So I need Black and brown people, wherever we may be on the planet, to realize nobody's stopping us from moving.
Oh wow.
Nobody's stopping us from buying land.
Hmm.
Land for sale, y'all.
That's true. That's true.
You don't have to wait on reparations because it ain't came.
Mm.
We've been independent for a long time. When we gonna say, okay, this is like the date that ain't showing up. He not picking you up from prom. He not coming.
Yes.
She not coming.
Right.
So that financial responsibility, sir, that you talking about, right? It can start in the home. It can start today.
Mm.
You can start easily with sitting down talking to children. Be like, let's talk about money, what it is, how it operates, what it does, right? And how to use our money. And then you can also talk about greed.
Mm.
Right? Because in Proverbs 23, it says, do not wear yourself out to get rich. Have the wisdom to show restraints,
Wow.
financial restraints.
Mm.
So the African philosophies, our African teachers, our African guide, we are so blessed in this day and time to have a Basesh to actually translate the scriptures from the word, right? So when you're looking at Proverbs and we're having this conversation, ladies, we're talking about learning how to balance between the material prosperity and spiritual integrity.
Okay. Okay. So it ain't just about go get that money. You
Right.
got to keep
What
your
you
soul
doing with
intact.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got to run to a break. I hear the music playing in the background, so we're going to run to a break here on Guardian Radio today. I see you phone. The phone lines are lit. Get to some texts when we come back, but keep it locked here on Guardian Radio today. We're looking at Proverbs 31 from an African-centered perspective. Our special guest today is Dr. Nicole Ford. She is a clinical counselor, the conscious counselor, here with us today. So keep it locked, and we'll be right back after this.
Chant and want him, yeah. Chant and want him. Chant and want him, yeah. Take heed in an instant, take heed, take heart. Feed and cultivate all of the inner quiet. Innovation is true.
You try to rest, but roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers, for window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it, just give us a call. Let Printmasters bring you your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Hey everyone, get ready for a night you won't forget. It's Z-Live's Far Back Friday Party with host Shivago Lang. Friday, March 27th, beginning at 7 p.m. Join us at Sapodilla Estate for a night of dance, light bites, and refreshing drinks. Get your tickets at the Nassau Guardian between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. $50 per person. Cash sales only. It's Z-Live's Far Back Friday Party. Real music, lots of fun, eats and drinks, and oh so cool vibes. See you there.
Put more money back in your pocket with the Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan. Why pay more when you can pay less? Reduce your monthly debt payments down to one low, easy payment. Apply for a Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
The following is a paid political message brought to you by the Free National Movement.
Bahamas, get ready! The momentum is building and the movement is rising. The Free National Movement official campaign launch. Join the excitement Saturday, March 21st at 7:30 p.m. at Bahama. Watch the event live on Facebook and YouTube at our FNM 242. Be part of the movement. The FNM official campaign launch. Saturday, March 21st at 7:30 p.m. See you at Bahama.
That was a paid political message brought to you by the Free National Movement.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
One thing's for certain, two things for sure. I always believed in God, but the day I stopped fearing God was the day I realized the God they sold me was never God at all. Yeah. Teach you fear before they teach you love. Say the Father watching from the sky above. Jealous God, vengeful God, that's what they preach. Punish every question, silence every speech. But deep in my heart I knew something wrong. Divine love never sound like a threat in a song. So I turned inward, started seeking the source. Walked away from the script, walked onto my course. I never walked away from God, I walked away from fear.
And we're back here on Guardian Radio today with your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III. Our special guest today is Dr. Nicole Ford. I got some text coming through, sorry. Dr. Nicole Ford. And we're talking about looking at Proverbs 31 from an African-centered perspective. You heard the song there talking about walking away from fear, because we've been given many, many interpretations of the Most High. But you understand what I'm saying? And that's why we have our guest here today. She is a clinical counselor, and so she deals with trauma on a daily basis. She'll be one of the speakers at the Women's Conference at the end of this month, March 27th and 28th. And I want to run back to the phone line so our callers can engage her. And
Yes.
Yeah, let's run back to it. So, caller, you live. Caller going once. Y'all probably thought he wasn't coming here right away, huh? It's all good. It's all good.
Can I say something when we get in the caller, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I just want to make sure people, if we just kind of look globally what's been happening when we talk about, the brother had asked about racism,
Yes.
Another brother asked about finances. Nationalism is the new form of colonial racism, where you're looking at the world, you're looking at countries like, Europe and Turkey and India, and all of these people are promoting cultural identity.
Yes.
They are, and they're promoting it in the form of economic protection. They're like, we don't want immigrants, this and that. And we're like, okay, while we're doing this and while they're telling us, hey, we not focused on race no more. Everybody cool, we good. But these movements are happening in Indonesia and Thailand and Brazil and Poland. And we're looking up and we're like, how did the world change? But we good.
Right, exactly.
So we got to be able to pay attention
Yeah.
that these outright or far right parties have gained momentum. So welcome. If no one got the memo, racism is back.
My Lord. My Lord. They done got them paddles out. They say, clear. He's alive again. That's real talk. All right, I think our caller's back here. Calling you live here on Garden Radio today.
My brother, how are you?
I'm great, man. Thanks for calling.
My beautiful sister from another country, how are you?
I am doing well, brother. Excited to speak to you. Hit us with that question.
My sister, I haven't seen you, but the Spirit told me that you're very graceful. My question is to you, in your country, and among the black race, there seems to be a gender war among the black family and in marriage. Can you speak to that? And the question is why? One. Two, it appeared to me that this is coming from some of the local assembly, and they don't want to speak to the issue as to what's going on in the black family and the black race. I'll hang up and listen to you, please, if you can help me out.
Big question, big question.
All right. Now, I want to say first, thank you all for the question, right? And the thing is, we have to always remember that the gender war is a tool. It is an actual tool, right? A psychological tool. And when we are just couples, right, we have nothing in common. We just people. We just have a purpose. Sometimes most people, if you really think about when you started dating or when you started meeting or hooking up with people, you really didn't have no standards. It was only based off of how they looked or what they had.
Yeah.
You really wasn't thinking about a family, right? You knew he was just like, okay, I'm supposed to do this thing, but I don't really know how, right? And so in the process of colonialism, when you go back far enough, you see that black families, Bahamian families, African families were split up. We were, right? That was just a tool that was used.
Right.
And in the process of that, once again, that trauma, women had to do certain roles, men had to do certain roles. And a lot of time, the black family has been weakened.
Yeah.
Time to now where men and women are being kind of pitted against each other, so we don't see the big picture that we really do need each other. So when you look at it, whether it's here or abroad, right, one of the things when you have two people working together as a family, you build family income, you reduce dependency. This is why black men and women need each other. Right? But most importantly, we have to learn that we have to undo this colonial thinking. Do this colonial thinking about gender and worth. Because the Proverbs 31 woman, when you're looking at it through Eurocentric eyes, they wasn't looking at the Bahamian or African mamas in the market that had their own business before they came.
Real talk.
Right?
Yeah.
They just reframed it as, oh, you got to be an ideal, obedient wife, instead of the economic and moral pillar of the nation. Right? And so it shifts.
Yeah.
It shifted where now they are looking, because Francis Cress Welsing has always identified the reality is that black boy, that black male, that semen, if we can say that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's a medical term.
Right?
Zero, semen, sperma.
Right? That represents genetic annihilation for races that are non-melanated.
Okay.
Right? And so when it comes to being a black couple, that black couple is a threat to white genetic survival.
Wow.
It is a threat. So I have to make sure that we're going to keep the black woman busy. We're going to keep these homes single. We're going to just get rid of the black man. But these are all different forms of genocidal tools.
Wow.
That are used to destroy black people globally.
Wow. A psychological tool, you said. So, most tools, I see. I mean, someone has crafted this tool and someone is intentionally utilizing this tool towards us as a people.
Because black men were stripped. They were stripped of economic control. They were stripped of family leadership. They were excluded from the provider roles.
Wow.
So when you look at colonialism, and even after colonialism left and these new economies that were created, it never restored that role. Never. And so today you have a lot of men who feel disconnected from purpose. Fatherhood can feel optional and unsupported because the village not there. And so we get shaped into this survival role. And that was never us. That's what we have become. But we got to go ahead and we got to deal with the issue. Right. So I think that, of course, with the scripture, we can step up, we can do this. But once again, it's going to take a village. It's going to take us looking at the world, looking at our definition of God, looking at our definition of family, looking at our definitions of love, looking at the responsibilities, because they made us fear responsibility.
Okay, this is powerful stuff, and I want to make sure we, because you hitting us with a lot right now. You hitting us with a lot right now, and you said that men, when we were economically, we were stripped, the roles that and I see this on a daily basis. I don't think we define it the way you said it. You know what I'm saying? You said it so eloquently, but like I said, before I came here, I was working, and there was a conversation that I wasn't a part of it, but I was able to hear what was going on. They knew I was listening, and the brother was there saying that that girl over there, I gotta give her a baby. She's so pretty. I'm gonna make her pregnant. And next week, I got a baby being born, and the girl, she gonna be mad because I didn't tell her that this other girl that's having the baby is having the baby. And I'm sitting there listening. I'm like, okay. And so you're saying, so I guess in his world, is that how he's trying to find purpose? Is he? I mean, obviously you don't know him, but I'm just trying to understand, because this is a conversation that's being had a lot.
But that running through women?
Yes, through women.
That is a stat.
Right.
Running through men, once again, it's similar to, you have to remember how things are marketed to us. And sex is a marketing tool.
Right.
That the more sexual partners you have, right? People want to have sex. People want to get stuff. Men want to get stuff so they can have sex.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is, we have to remember what mine is the motivator. Sex. Mine is the activator. Sex is the motivator. Right.
Okay.
And so a lot of times when we are approaching, because we got to look at how we even look at sex. What we was taught, or we're not taught about sex.
And I don't want you to go too far, because we going to a break.
Can't go that far.
No, I know.
Right?
I want you to go that far after the break, right? Because I want to get this call in, because sex sells. They're gonna listen after the break, right? I want you to talk about that after the break. But let's take this call, and then I think that may run us into the break. But caller, you're live.
Yeah, good afternoon, Uncle.
How you doing, my brother?
Good afternoon to your guest.
Yes.
Boy, that's a long week.
Sorry about that, my brother.
It's nice to hear this conversation coming from a woman. But she said a lot of things that I am conscious of, and I've been advocating for some changes,
Dr. Ford, this is an activist, Cleaver Duncombe. He's been an activist for how many years?
Basically 23.
23 years. So you hit the nail on the head.
And got nowhere. I got nowhere. I mean, the leaders have fought against me. Some of them are becoming old and wrinkled now, but they're still fighting. But it doesn't matter to me. One of the things that I've been addressing is this thing that led to so many genocide in the country. This children being born out of wedlock.
Okay.
Prior to me coming on the stand, Doc, we had a legislation that said children born out of wedlock have a mother but no father, which I find was one of the most ludicrous things that you could even think of.
You're saying that was in law. That's literally was the law. Children born out of wedlock do not have a father.
You know, the only recognition they gave the biological father, who happens to be the provider and the protector, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The only right he had legally was to pay maintenance.
Wow.
And he couldn't even petition the court to get any changes. The mother would have to take him to court to pay maintenance. But he couldn't go and get any parental involvement in the child's life because there was no provisions in law up until I came on the scene. And after some advocacy, we were able to get some small changes where men now can petition the court to get, listen to this, access. Imagine they're giving you access in law to a child. I mean, the only thing you need access for, if you're going to access into a building or some structure, but not, we should have been given shared common responsibility. That's what is needed to stop this genocide. Because, you know, I listened to Doc, and I'm sure she's going to expound on it, you know, but what, and this is a question you perhaps could answer later, what role do you think fathers in all of this? I know it's a big role, it's a huge, you know, but the thing is, too, when you're talking economics, the damage that has been done to us as black people, I mean, I don't know how much more years it's going to take for us to recover. Just to give you an example, you're in business. Let's say you own a shop. Rather than buying, might find the suppliers may sell only things they sell is by the cake. But if 3 or 4 or 5 entrepreneurs, black entrepreneurs, come together and we pool our resources, we'll be able to perhaps stay in business longer, but they look at us as competition. But when we open up and we're doing basically the same thing, they call it competition. Oh, that's the enemy. And you hear it even in politics and all at the lower end, they talk about us being enemies. The PLP and FNMs, we are enemies. We are war. I mean, this caused a lot of divisiveness because at the top, they look at governance as a triangle, Uncle. At the top, where the 2 lines connect, that's where you find the family, friends, and lovers. Politics doesn't matter. But at the bottom, where the triangle gets wider, that's us at the bottom divided and fighting against one another for things, for nonsensical things.
Right.
But how do we stop this genocide and this of a particular race? Because right now, Doc, we've had several good murders. We have several murders in the Bahamas. All of our murders in the Bahamas for this year, and maybe 99% of it last year. The perpetrator was black. The victims were black. White Bahamians not killing up one another. The persons who have the deep social issues are black communities, black brothers. They're the ones who are aiming and killing up one another. And I always say, if you remove all black people, you'll have one of the safest countries on planet Earth. Fight. How do we correct this wrong? You know, because I've been an advocate for these issues for over 23 years. And we got the Child Protection Act passed in Parliament. But the way it was written, if you use laws that protect animals in the Bahamas, remove animals and place children in the Bahamas, our children will be more protected with animal rights laws in the U.S. Wow. If you would just move animals and place children in there, children are to use those same laws, our children will be more protected. But how do we get out of?
So we want to address after the break. You talked about fatherlessness, and this whole genocide, and then of course we wanted to talk about the importance of sex and what that means in this whole genocidal or traumatic stage that we as a people are going through. Our special guest today is Dr. Nicole Ford. She is a clinical counselor. She's the conscious counselor. She has a wonderful podcast called Melanin Minds, and you can check it out on. And we're going to be back here after the break. We got to go to news and pay some bills, and then we'll be right back here. Keep it locked.
Suffer say refuse in a reverse if you know. Strive say efforts in reverse also too.
A spiritual woman is the greatest threat to the status quo. The fruit she'll bear, the power she has access to. Them tell you mustn't talk to yourself and keep away from selfish.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
Things for certain, two things for sure. I always believed in God, but the day I stopped fearing God was the day I realized the God they sold me was never God at all. Yeah. They teach you fear before they teach you love. Say the Father watching from the sky above. Jealous God, vengeful God, that's what they preach. Punish every question, silence every speech. But deep in my heart I knew something wrong. Divine love never sound like a threat in a song. So I turned inward, started seeking the source. Walked away from the script, walked onto my course. I never walked away from God, I walked away from fear, I walked away from
and
distortion.
we're back here on Guardian Radio today with your host, Pastor Dr. Third, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. Our special guest today is Dr. Nicole Ford. She's a clinical counselor, the Conscious Counselor. You can check out her podcast, Melanin Minds, on YouTube. And we're having a wonderful conversation today as it regards Proverbs 31 from an African-centered perspective. We had some questions before the break from Brother Cleaver Duncombe and another caller. I don't know which order you want to address them in, Dr. Ford. But yeah.
Well, let's start with that fatherlessness. I thought that was a really great question. So
let's repeat it for those people who may not have heard the question.
Yes.
Yeah. Cleaver Duncombe is asking about the role of fatherlessness in the home and the trauma and the genocide we see and how that's affecting us. So that's what Dr. Ford is going to answer right now.
One of the things, especially when it comes to fatherlessness and the trauma, that we have to kind of to remember in this conversation, because I'm going to make an announcement, everybody. The conversation we having, it is about race. It's not about hate.
Yes, that's important to say.
It is about race. It is not about hate. So when I say this and we look at the white Bahamian families, they're doing well.
In many instances.
They got the father in the home. They're doing well because they are part of the inheritance of a system that's still in place. They benefited from the colonial systems and the colonial structures that were in place. The system's been already whitewashed. It leans in their favor.
Yes.
But the thing when it comes to that fatherlessness, as soon as you remove the word race, you said black is not important. We put the black down. The black father is no longer important.
Right.
And so when we're looking and we're having these kind of conversations, if we're saying black couples, right, 2 words. The couple, anybody could be a couple.
Right.
It's the black part, the noun part. And so whenever we're having these kind of conversations and we're trying to make sure that, hey, Indian, they're like Indian couple, we for India. White people, everyone else can talk about their race. We're the only ones. Palestinians talking about we're a race. We're proud Palestinians. But Africans, Caribbeans, black people, we never want to talk about race.
Right.
But yet we are constantly bombarded with what Francis Quest Wilson called psychological warfare.
Yes.
And so we are constantly bombarded to destabilize our mind, to reinforce the trauma.
To reinforce it. Wow.
Never to get rid of it. Because the things, it helps us act in one way or another that other people benefit.
Right.
So for example, when you look at different clubs, we've been there used to be a time maybe in the 50s and the 60s where we would have discipline. We would still go out. But now a lot of our melanated brown and black baby sons and daughters, we believe that alcoholic drinks and drugs.
That's true.
That's what you're supposed to do when you go to the club. And we believe that you have to have a certain amount of wealth. And to be a man, I got to have wealth. And to be a woman, I have to have sexual freedom instead of discipline.
Wow.
So that's going to weaken your mind. That's going to weaken your morals. That's going to weaken your intelligence. Why? For the simple fact that these are intoxicants. This is just science 101. It's not only an act, it conditions you and it normalizes and erodes our ability as Black community to protect ourselves.
Right.
We saw it happen with the Indians.
Yep.
So we see this destabilization. So we have to have enough courage to put race back on the table. Race has to be part of the conversation.
Yes.
When you see interracial couples and you have a Bahamian man or an African man or an African woman, and they have somebody that's non-melanated, whatever race, they're non-melanated.
Right.
That non-melanated person did not grow up with the same experience, and most importantly, as a child, did not play with Black and brown babies.
Yes.
They have been conditioned to want white genetic survival and white babies. And so right now with their birth rate, anybody, Google, right now, Europe's having a birth rate problem.
Yep.
And so they'll get with you just to use you to have a child, but never ever think that they were using or have a child for the benefit of, we want to make sure that you get strong, right? We want to make sure that the Black family gets strong. It was never about that.
Right.
And so when we're looking at our families and we're looking at this genocide, what's happening, Elijah Muhammad, the NOI, he was like, hey, self and kind, we got to work amongst each other together. And they moved as a unit.
Right.
Garvey, the UNIA, we got to work for self and kind, move as a unit. The ANC, self and kind. But even in the Bahamas, Lyndon, the first Black prime minister, he has some phenomenal Black women working with him.
Of course.
Right? So they're working. This is still gender. This is still Black men and Black women. So when you look at Doris Johnson, when you look at Mary Ingram, when you look at Jonah Simonette, right? They're working with him and they're talking about Black liberation. This Pan-Caribbean idea, we have to start talking about it because it's going to help to instill that race pride that our children are missing, that our communities are missing. We got to get back to self-love, y'all.
Amen.
And in order to have self-love, you got to be able to talk about yourself, not the stuff that you got. That self-love, that pride is knowing where you come from, knowing who you are, and being courageous enough to move in a better direction. Because we can all say, this is not working.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Amen. We got a call. I don't know if they want to chime in on what you just said. I know we got another question to answer, but let's hear what they got to say here on Guardian Radio today. Caller, you live.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hey, my brother. How you doing, man?
Right there, man. Right there. What's the name of your guest again, Dr.
Nicole Ford. Dr. Nicole Ford.
Okay. All right, Dr. Ford. How are you doing?
I am doing wonderful. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, thank you. And good afternoon. Yes, you're welcome. Excellent conversation. You touched off on a few points that I've had the pleasure and the opportunity to have discussions with Dr. Anku Sarao on locally. And one of the last points that we would have discussed, Anku, as it relates to our race and our situation in the country is as it relates to the population, right? And so I want to start off there. And then I'll end on something that you all spoke about with Cleaver, right? If I could. But this conversation is so wide, it's so deep. And certainly we won't have enough time in one show to get to all of the root points that we need to explore, right? But there used to be a time, just to go back to starting off with what we have, there used to be a time in this country where even when Black persons in this country resided in what we call over-the-hill communities or the less affluent communities, Dr. Ford, that there was a pride that was instilled in Black people. Black people kept their premises clean. Their environment, people looked out for each other. Black people were friendly with each other. Black people respected each other. Black people didn't allow negative or violence to take place without checking the persons participating in the negativity and the violence, right? We've moved away from that system, and we believe that as we have become more educated, we become more sophisticated. But that is yet to be seen, right? Because in my view, as we became more educated, and as we got a taste of some economics, right? Improving financial status, etc. We became more selfish in our approach, right? We became more greedy in our approach, right? We've moved from the generation that persons who walked through the doors of favor and goodness, who held the door open for others to walk through those same doors. We've moved to selfish and greedy people to the point where once we cross through those doors, we're not interested in holding the door open for those who want to come through that door who is behind us, right? And then, of course, there's that conversation. But that, of course, there's certainly not enough time to get into that. So I'm just giving nuggets, right? And then, of course, there's the conversation of the population. As you know, Uncle, we have an aging population in this country, right? We don't have enough Bahamians prorating or giving birth at the rate to sustain even our own existence economically in this country, right? We don't have a proper immigration program in place in our country to help with that sustainability. And so there's another deeper conversation to be had as it relates to the population growth or non-growth in this country and what that does for us, especially when you tie that part of the conversation in with economics. Because we have a tendency in this country, unfortunately, because of the unfortunate way we have not allowed for wealth redistribution to take place, we have an unfortunate overview of persons who have multiple children to look down on them in a society where we haven't put in place a system to even sustain the family in our country, right? And those two has to go hand in hand. The growth of the population as well as economics. I'll end with this right here, Uncle. None of these topics, by the way, there's enough time for me to dig into in any real way. So I'm going to give it nuggets. I'll end with this part. As it relates to the fatherlessness in our society, right? Back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, even somewhat in the 80s and 90s in our country, we've always had the larger part of our population being single parent population, right? But we have the village, which would have enabled us to catch some of those shortfalls that result from the single parent homes, right? We no longer have that in our society, coupled with greedy mindsets in our society, right? But the point being, we don't do enough as it relates to promoting men in the home, as it relates to promoting wholeness in the home, as it relates to promoting men taking responsibility, right, in home. We focus more and only on the collection of the menial amount of monies that the courts award for the sustenance.
What this brother is saying, and I love the fact that he's saying it because he's talking about in the home, that
Thanks,
all
Antoine.
of the men and boys, and men, all of these men were boys who had mothers.
My Lord.
All of these men are boys who had mothers.
But you bring that
And
right
so-
back to the center quickly. You brought that right back to the center quickly. Go ahead. Let me hear you.
Right. So the first school teacher, right? The first principal, the first head mistress, the first instructor of a nation is the mother. This is the importance of this, what we're talking about this weekend and what the brother is talking about. Because when we realize the importance, and he is correct, we have to remember and remind ourselves that our children, that they first belong in our wombs, that when we have a mother, a daughter, a sister, a wife, an aunt, a niece, and when they stand strong, the people stand strong. Because we have to, again, get motherhood to be honored again.
Yes, indeed.
Right? And so we have to remember as a people, liberation of a people requires, Elijah Muhammad, liberation of its women. Liberation doesn't, I'm not saying going to get a job. I'm not saying the freedom to just pick and do anything that you want to do. We're talking about the dignity of the community. Rest upon the shoulders of the consciousness of what's in that sister's head.
Right.
What's in her heart. Do you see what I'm saying? So we have to move in that direction of understanding that women, men, we have to invoke in the womb, in our pregnancies again. We have to remember that from the womb, we are creating tribal rulers and tribal leaders, and we are creating the next generation. If you know the movie with Will Smith, and he was talking about Serena and Venus back before, not the, when they were children, and how their father was involved.
Yeah.
And invoked what these babies gonna be, but he invested in them.
Yeah.
He invested time, right? And so we have to have purposeful living. We have to have generosity. We have to have, balance of faith and action, right? And so when we're looking at this womb, if we desecrate the womb, that's the soil. So we're participating in it. The brother is 100% right. But we both, brother, I'm going to work with the sisters on my end, but I need you to work with the brothers on your end too.
Yes.
Because once we start desecrating the soil, that womb, now we seedless, now we got children, we like, what the heck?
That's true.
It's happening. So we got to seek first the kingdom, but the kingdom is within. We got to start again birthing children and understand that just like the Jews and Chinese, they're thinking about the next generation. We got to start thinking about planning for the next generation. So that means that we have to have some accountability.
Yeah.
Right? Deuteronomy 19. We got to go ahead and we got to have some higher allegiance than just, I want this woman for this. Meet a woman from the neck up. Meet a man from the neck up.
Yeah.
So we can get back. We gotta get back to some discipline.
My Lord.
Discipline in our words. And that means in that discipline, right? We gotta unchange some things. We gotta go back and we gotta look at some real shifts. Right? We might, whether it's for men, it might be a weekly men's group. Not just preaching, but real talk.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about the Holy Catholic Church. Right? It might mean mentoring. Right? It might mean for them fatherless having father-child activity days. It might mean job referral. It might mean men with skills teach trades to younger men. But we got to give men purpose.
Wow.
We got to give them skills.
Yeah.
We got to support their emotional health because a lot of men are taught not to cry. A lot of women are taught to be strong. Don't cry. Keep pushing, sister. Keep working. Stay busy.
What I'm hearing you say is the community, man. We need this community that many of us benefited from it, but we're not helping to maintain it now. As we become the elders and mothers and fathers, we now have to do what is necessary to maintain these communities that we benefited from. That's what I'm hearing you say. And this is very powerful. Let's run back to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio today. Caller, you live.
Yes, greetings.
Greetings, man.
Earlier you spoke about Bob Marley's emancipate yourself from mental slavery. But he first go on to say, have no fear for atomic energy. That means have no fear for the military might of our oppressors, our colonial masters, right? And see, what I see in the Bahamas, right, is what we do is we are governments, right? We talk about family, but we have a government that regulates everything, makes the laws. What they do is they practice, right now we're practicing that laissez-faire government. The same government that the far right practice. The laissez-faire government. What we do is right now we're in a crisis because of the war, but our governments can't do anything. Because why? They don't have any money. They're all the money-making assets. They privatize them. That's colonialist doctrine. That's colonialist orders. You understand? Privatize things so you can't do nothing for your people. We have people saying, they say, oh, my department education, we say we are, what we do, they put it on the parents. They say, well, the parents, this guy says that his students, his children in Xavier College. Xavier.
Oh, brother, can we add another fear to that? Can we add the fear of reading?
Wow.
The fear of reading, right? Because colonialism and slavery, they made sure we didn't read.
Real talk.
So it's the same thing today. We can't read. We say when we have a D average, right? What we saying is the masses are of F average. That's what the D average means is. You know, that means the masses are F. They failed. You see, and then we blame the parents. You know what I'm saying? We say, well, let's see, the guy said, well, the principal at Xavier School, now that's a private school, you know, and said that the parent has to be involved. You understand what I'm saying? And then this guy, he's an educated man with a master's degree. His wife is the same, at least a master's degree. That cannot equate to a poor parent. You know, this poor parent don't have to catch a bus or PTA meeting that don't run in the night. You know what I mean?
But once again, that goes back to what you're saying, brother. But we not teaching our people race pride.
You know,
we not teaching. They educated, but we never was taught that. If somebody can just confirm with me, because I know Black history is something that might be happening in a month, but it was never a curriculum.
You know what they tell us?
History was never a curriculum.
No, not Black
history. Bahamian history was never a curriculum.
No,
part of school.
They tell us, well, fair atomic energy, right? Don't listen to Martin Luther King. Don't be fellas like Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or Gandhi. Don't be fellas, but fair atomic energy. Be subservient because they're afraid, because we don't. This gonna happen. We have people that educated that go. They go in what you call it. They volunteer to go in the white man army. Come on, man. What's going on? What's going on today? We gotta speak the truth to our children. You know what I'm saying? They because a nation could win the war, they think a nation could win the war. It's a righteous nation. My evil people win war. You know, righteous people lose this war.
Like, I thank you, caller. It's a lot of
I love that.
Yeah,
he said we got to speak to the truth to our children.
Yes, and that's definitely what we aim to do in this conference, March 27th and 28th, the Women's Conference, which will be on Friday evening of March 27th, and then Saturday morning of Saturday the 28th. JourneyHomeGroup.com is where you want to go and register for free. But Dr. Ford, we were talking about before the break, this today we'll just say sex, but there's more to it than that. Can you give us some insight on how that plays into everything that we're talking about today?
A lot of times when it comes to how we even look at sex, right? Just the biology of it, just the understanding, the terminology of, you know, your anatomy, what you have and what I have and how it works.
Right. Straight up.
Right? We don't even know basic information like that. Right?
Wow.
And so a lot of times, right, unfortunately through sick marketing that makes sure that the way we are presented, we have to be sexually attractive.
Yep.
It's about sexual pleasure. Right? But you've seen it with the increase in not only pornography and the increase of social media, the chat rooms and things like that, that sex is a big market, right? Our children now are being introduced to different sexual orientations in the different schools.
Yeah.
These are like reality, right? And so when it comes to sex, we even have to be liberated from that.
Right. The sacred energy exchange. We gotta redefine it. And how are we gonna be liberated? I mean, people like me liberated. People are like, I don't want to be liberated. I don't want to be liberated.
Because the thing is, because we have to remember that once again, now when women are getting raped, right? Women were getting raped in colonialism.
That's true.
Women was getting raped under slavery, right? And a lot of times, even post that, remember, no one was getting prosecuted.
True that.
Black men was getting prosecuted for being accused of hurting white women, but it was never white males being prosecuted for what they did to black women.
Yeah.
Right? And so now you should fast forward all the way up to 2026, and the female, they're enforcing this idea of being a temptress, right? Being a sexual vixen. And a lot of times, if a man kind of goes for that, once again, neck up mentality versus bottom neck down mentality, that could be responsible for what the brother said, that failure, male failure, right? It's a kind of interpretation which is going to go ahead and continue to feed that European patriarchy, where they're putting out this idea that men fall because of women. And so they shift the responsibility and they make women, quote unquote, women are distractions rather than equal partners, an African concept. And in control of women is necessary for male success. So we got to look at that.
Yeah.
And look at how colonialism and Hellenism and how that was utilized, not for our benefit.
Right.
Because men and women can work together hand in hand to rebuild strong families.
Yes, we need it. We need it.
Right?
Yeah. Definitely. Let's run back.
So that was just an example.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it because the thing is, the conversation is so deep. We can't get into everything on the radio today, but that's why you need to come to the conference because we'll be getting more details, into the conference. But let's go back to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio today. Call you live.
Hello, Doc.
Hey, how you doing, my brother?
Top shape, man. Good afternoon to you and your guest.
Good afternoon.
I know she's a doctor as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, she said earlier that we've been brainwashed. And that is why we don't do a lot of things that we need to do. Now, my question there is this. I come from not a poor area, but I come from a hood area, right, in the eastern part of the island. And every so often I host a basketball tournament. Right? It's black people, predominantly black people. So we have somebody in the area who's a member of parliament. So we will say, I'll ask the MP to, hey, try to give something towards the tournament. He gives. And then the people in the community, they live where their kids, that's what the kids live where they live. So I'm like, guys, we need volunteers. We donate something. All right? But why is people telling me,
but it's their children that's going to benefit from the tournament, correct?
Right, this is your community, right? And now my question is...
Are the parents involved in the tournament?
Pardon me?
Are the parents involved in the tournament?
Well, the thing is, one or two parents are involved. But what I'm saying is, you said we're brainwashed. Now, if I can get 50 people to give me $1 each, right? What I'm saying is, how do we bridge that gap now from the persons who are brainwashed to get them to see the light? Have we lost a generation to start from scratch? How do we bridge that gap? Let people see, look, your guys. You don't need a member of parliament to help you, assist you. You can come together, like you said earlier. You can come together, you can buy one case of soda, and each store gets 6, and you can't buy a case. You understand me? How do we bridge that gap? That's what I want to know.
Great question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Could you help me with that question one more time?
No problem.
Could you say it again for me, Calhoun?
He wants to understand how do we bridge this gap based on people being brainwashed and seemingly not really wanting to help themselves. He's asking, have we lost a generation? Do we even focus on this generation, or do we just go straight to the children? How do we bridge the gap between our older generation and the younger generation and trying to build community based on what he's seeing? Because he's seeing a kind of apathy in his community.
Okay. So it's a couple of different things, but it's multi-layered, right? To make it in the real world, right? Because he mentioned that, it's hard for me to even get $1 from the parents. Right? And I'm going to say, okay, well, let's switch it to time. One, right? People got time. So when they come and they dropping their kids off, we're going to have to start changing some, we got to start demonstrating, this is the community. This is not the community where you just drop off your kid.
You're gonna stay with your child, right? Amen.
You're gonna participate in this, right? So you got to have very clear expectations on everybody got a role here. I'm a coach. I do this. This is the child. They do this. You the parent. This your part.
Right.
So we got to get the time involved, right? 2, another thing you could do is you can start re-educating families about Black identity and history, right? You can incorporate that into your program, right? Hey, everybody, this month, boom, we reading the book. Bam! This is the book we reading. You can do that, brother. right? So you can teach identity. You can teach discipline. You can teach responsibility. You can teach self-worth. You can teach boundaries. You can teach economic independence. You can teach conflict resolution. You can teach parenting. You can teach cooperation. So we got to learn that we can fix the structure, our money, the roles, the discipline. We got to fix the mindset, identity and conditioning. We got to fix the relationship, communication, parenting. And all of these things can be done in real time, but it's going to take information. It's going to take people working together and being part of organizations, brotherhoods, sisterhoods that are about that way of life. Because if not, you just got 10 people and everybody think a different way. Everybody kind of want to do a different thing. So you got to give them that ethos. You got to go ahead and be like, okay, if we're going to do brainwashing, now we're going to do brain building. And one of the ways you do that here, for example, is because some people might say, well, I don't have access to the books. Okay, we can get you started.
Yep.
We can get you started.
Right.
That's no problem, right? And so this is why this program is important. Because I see a lot of Black women that go to different community organizations and I'm looking for a father figure for my son. I'm looking for a male figure for my daughter. So in the process of teaching and being part of the community, the sisters, we have to be part of this maternal instruction and this maternal village. We got to create the village. We have to create the village.
Wow. So what I'm hearing you saying, I want to talk about this after the break, Dr. Ford. The way the community views the woman. I want to talk about that because I think we very much, because of colonialism and Hellenization, we just see women. When we talk about this Proverbs 31 woman, she's supposed to be quiet. She's supposed to just be in the house. She's just supposed to be, in the background somewhere. But I'm not hearing you say that. I'm hearing you say the women, they're the pillars. Without them, we as men gonna run around in circle trying to figure out why this ain't working. And so I want to touch on that when we come back from the break here on 96.9 Guardian Radio. Fresh news, smart talk all day. Our special guest, Dr. Nicole Ford. She is a clinical counselor, the conscious counselor, and she's here with us up until the 4 o'clock hour. My name is Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. Back after the break.
The mitochondria squarely proves how much of the blueprint she provide. The fullness of joy in a sober overflow. Suffer so refuse in a reverse if you know. Strives in reverse also too.
A spiritual woman is the greatest threat to the status quo.
The following is a paid political message brought to you by the Free National Movement.
Bahamas, get ready. The momentum is building and the movement is rising. The Free National Movement official campaign launch. Join the excitement Saturday, March 21st at 7:30 p.m. at Bahama. Watch the event live on Facebook and YouTube at our FNM 242. Be part of the movement. The FNM official campaign launch. Saturday, March 21st at 7:30 p.m. See you at Bahama.
That was a paid political message brought to you by the Free National Movement.
You know what's going down tomorrow?
Nobody, what happening?
Joe bringing these knives to school. He go in for what? Boy, he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And you know, John, you don't back down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you want?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody? I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know.
Boy, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, him and these boys coming for me next.
All right, so we definitely gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So how did I boy?
All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the Crack Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the calls go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then if you get the pen from them, and they can claim a reward later using that same pen.
Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you're saying.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau, or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Get set. Track and field fans, it's that time. Time for the B3A Carifta Trials, March 20th through the original Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. Come see the country's finest young athletes in blazing battles on the track and fierce field competition as they look to book their tickets to the 53rd Carifta Games in St. George's, Grenada on the Easter holiday weekend. Who will make the team to represent the Bahamas? Be there for the B3A Carifta Trials, March 20th through 22nd at the original Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. Competition starts at 5 p.m. on Friday, March 20th, and 3 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday, March 21st and 22nd. General admission, $12. Children under 12, $8. $20 VIP. 3-day passes are $34 general admission, $20 children under 12, and $58 for a 3-day VIP pass. The B3A Carifta Trials, March 20th through 22nd. Don't you miss it. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Stand up, all data. Rise up. Stand up, real warrior. Stand up, all fighter. Honors to the young and the elder ones who respect the earth in a real fashion. We leave from the ways that them who don't overstand now. If you embrace domination, can't give Babylon wrong, oh no. Now this a real matter and a concern from war. From the take the chains now offer the people
and we're back here on Guardian Radio today. I am your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. Our special guest today, Dr. Nicole Ford. She is a clinical counselor, the consult we know her as. And you can check out her podcast, Melanin Minds, on YouTube. And we've been having a wonderful conversation about a lot of things. Ultimately, we're looking to rebrand the Proverbs 31 woman from an African-centered perspective. Before we went to the break, we were talking about how women are seen in the community. So I want to stick a pin there. I want to take this call, and then we can dive into that particular conversation or that topic or that discussion right after this call. But caller, you're live here on Guardian Radio today.
Yes, Uncle, how you doing? And Miss Dr. Ford, Alan Johnson.
Hey, my brother.
Uncle, I know we often talk about the brainwashing aspect of the weaponization of repetition against independent thought, right? Mm-hmm. There's I'm part of grouping of thinking that use an alternative defense that we call brain rinsing, which we consider the disciplined cleansing of the mind so truth, reason, and consciousness can function again. And basically, brain resting helps you clear your own mind again. But what happens is, even for here in the Bahamas, right, I see where we are now, I'm a technologist. I'm sure Dr. Ford is not familiar with it, but 47 years experience before the computer existed when we were using punch cards. But even, and as a futurist and a multidisciplinary technologist, where I talk about things that come even though there's evidence of it being here, in the Bahamas, I see where people fight to remain in the system, almost like when you watch the movie The Matrix, where they fight to go back to sleep. And how dare you come here to wake us up? Because independent thought requires action. But the sleep and slumber that I am, even though it's poisonous to me and my future generations, is so much more comfortable. And so I think that we have to begin to recognize the smaller communities of where they are and begin to bring each of those communities out as part instead of the broad message of telling them that, hey, everybody wake up. My thoughts.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And that's the thing. We have to remember that, the first black prime minister was a race man.
Yes.
And so with that, as we bring it out, we have to always remember that those colonial ideas are still impacting the family. So we have to understand, what does a healthy black melanated family look like? Anything outside of that is at risk.
Right.
And so when it comes, when the brother is talking about that brain rinsing means the first thing, identity. identity. Who am I?
Mm.
That's going to always be like the first step, right?
Right.
So it's a balance, right? When I say that it's a balance, we're not going to sit up here and blame 100% our issues as all personal failure,
Right.
right? We do have some accountability in it, but in order to do that, we have to become aware.
Mm.
We got to recognize what ideas, what beliefs, how we see the world, what perceptions came from outside of us.
Mm.
Even in having the education. In having education, the things that work, what actually works locally, we can keep.
Right.
But we have to be more selective. We have to understand this is the importance of having a Black narrative, melanated narrative. So then we can know, hey, some of our still influences how we judge men, how we judge women, how we judge children, how we judge families. Have that conversation first.
Right.
How problems are explained, what healthy looks like. So then we'll be able to have a conversation that is going to realize that we're talking about racism, white supremacy. It is visible and invisible. It affects the economics, it affects our culture, it affects the family, it affects education, but most importantly, it affects our self-perception.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay.
And so when we to segue right into what we were talking about the woman, right? And so this is why it's important that when we're talking about invasion, I'm talking about the first invasion, the invasion of the mind, the heart, and the soul.
Wow. Okay.
And so in that melanated people, we have been oppressed. You can't get past that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It can't be ignored. It can't be silenced.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have that conversation, and that's not a 1 point. Okay, we was oppressed. Okay, no, it don't work like that. We got to be able to articulate. And what did that do to me?
Right.
What did that do to my mother? What did that do? How did it affect how we interacted with each other? But we have to be aware. How did it affect how we speak, how we eat, how we drink, how it affects how does it affect how we manage ourselves? What did it do? What does that look like today?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I want to read some. One of the texters saying from a comment earlier. It says, "Uncle, I strongly disagree that men would be confused if there isn't a woman in the home. I'm not sure what man shaped your ideals, but men built skyscrapers, railways, vehicles, etc. They don't need a woman to achieve greatness. What's
they need a mother to be born.
Let's start there, right?
That's all I'm saying, brother.
My word.
We need each other.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a woman versus man thing. No, this is a Black family thing.
Right. Right. And I don't know if he's trolling. I'm reading it because I know that people who think he's just speaking out loud what some people are thinking, right? He says, on the contrary, he said, historically, it's women who end up lost and confused. A man even invented feminine hygiene products to help women join the workplace. But you won't share this. Okay, share it. So, Dr. Ford.
Let's share.
Yeah, I don't have to agree with you to share what your point of view. I know you spent your whatever to get to the. But Dr. Ford, you said all these men gotta have a mother, and yes, women can be lost and confused too. But you're saying we need each other.
Yes, and yes, I am, and I'm stating also that when you look at, let's say his point of view is right. Let's say he's like, women don't need no, I raised myself, right?
Right.
Let's say that that's true. And I'm like, okay, show me the community of men that did that.
Whoa.
Show it to me. Show me that block where men was just doing their thing, right? And they did all these great things, but they did those great things to benefit the whole. If you got a product, he was thinking about the needs of a woman and how to make her life better. He's still thinking about the whole. He's not just thinking about himself.
Right.
And I'm saying that's communal living. That's when you're taking your resources and your ideas and putting it together for the benefit of the people, having some compassion.
Right.
So when we're looking at the role of the woman nowadays, I'm saying we got to get back to purpose. We got to get back to making motherhood and sisterhood and brotherhood and childhood spiritually holy again and scripturally correct again. So we got to restore family, communal, tribal organization support for one another. We have to get back to understanding, okay, how am I thinking? What am I thinking? What am I eating? Why am I eating it? How do I look at my standards of beauty? Right? How did become that? You know, what is this empowerment? And if women are earning less, how can women come together and be like single mothers? Hey, we all gonna come together as single mothers and we gonna learn how to watch each other's children. Hey, we gonna send our children to regular school, that's free. But hey, we gonna come together and we gonna get these books and we gonna learn how to go ahead and teach our children.
Right. Community.
Right?
Yes.
Community. So we can internalize messages, right, that says we can address our anxiety, our depression, our low self-esteem, but understand that colonialism, racism has a part in that. And you can't skip over that.
No.
We got to get back to being strong Black men and women today, righteous women today, virtuous women today, modest women today. And so we got to learn how to walk in balance.
Right.
How to walk in that quiet dignity and grace. Right? Not just grace for women, but also grace for our men.
Right.
Right? So I'm saying we got to create safe spaces again.
Right.
Where we can address our needs and our issues without shame.
Wow. And speaking of that, you know, the conference on the 27th and 28th of March is a safe space.
Yes.
I want to make sure that everybody listening knows that this is for men and women and even the children, you know, let them listen in because, you know, what you got a taste of today is just a taste. What you got a taste of on Tuesday was just a taste of what the Women's Conference, the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah will be putting on March 27th. What time do we start on that Friday, March 27th?
I want to say 6 p.m.
Yeah, 6 o'clock. I remember, time, 6 o'clock. I'm still trying to see if we're going to have a physical location for those people who want to come and do the face-to-face thing, but definitely we'll be online. And then Saturday morning, the 28th, we start at 11 a.m. So make sure you register, whether you're going to be face-to-face or not. Make sure you register. It's free. All right. Let people know. I've been getting all types of texts on the side where people just they're amazed at the level of information, and that's why I'm like, we're not just gonna say women's conference and then have a bunch of men talking. That's not. We got women that know how to speak about women, and we men.
It's okay.
Yes. Yes. So any parting words for us today, Dr. Ford? We got about maybe 3 to 4 minutes left in the show. You're a counselor, and you know, I want you to leave us with some comforting, counseling words for those people out there who are trying to take all of this in.
We have to get back to talking about race. We have to get back to talking about we define. We got to get back to understanding the time we can unlearn what has been internalized in us, whether it's through inferiority or whether we doubt our creativity or whether we doubt our intelligence or even if we doubt our leadership ability. Right? We can no longer measure our success based off of Western or European standards of approval.
Correct.
So it is time for women to come back and remember your body is a temple. Your womb is sacred. And that's going to go ahead and create the next generation. Men, of women, of children that will go ahead and help us to get back to the strong people we are. But in order to do that, we must read. We got to be amongst organizations that's going to help us do that.
Mm-hmm.
And the Holy Coptic Church, the original books of the Bible, seeing it through your eyes, seeing it through your narratives. You need this book.
Amen.
You need this book.
Yes, yes. So that's March 27th and 28th, the Women's Conference, Holy Coptic Church. You'll have Dr. Nicole Ford. You'll have Sister Zandi Ashanti Ali and others that'll be there talking on many different topics. We really only touched, skimmed the surface of potentially what we'll be talking about. But as I listen to both Dr. Ford and Sister Zandi, she's coming, right? What I think is important for us to understand is that women, in order for us to fix what we're going through right now, women are going to have to be a vital part of fixing, not just in the background, but in the forefront, what we see happening in our society today. And so this was an example of women that are in the forefront. All right. These are women that are on the front lines of trauma. I'm going to say it that way. Because they are seeing it and they are working along with Arba Sesh, Hotep Tar, and other Kawanat and Minivazirs, other leaders within, to make sure that we as a people have the help that we need. Because many people are just trying to figure out, where do I start? Well, you can start on March 27th and March 28th. Thank you so much, Dr. Ford. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I appreciate it. Proverbs 31, let's nurture the family and community. Have a great day, everybody in the Bahamas. Let's rebuild.
Yes, indeed. We want to emphasize that all of these women are standing side by side with us men. All right? Thank you so much. Again, my name is Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Ankusar. Our special guest today was none other than Dr. Nicole Ford. She is a clinical counselor. We call her the Conscious Counselor. You can check out her podcast, Melanin Minds, on YouTube. And, make sure you reach out to her so she can be in touch with you. The Talking Heads are up next, Naughty and MJ, so make sure you keep it locked here. This is going to be a week in review that you won't forget, I'm sure. Again, make sure that you have a safe weekend, and, most high willing, we'll be back with you again next week. Namastu, family.
Go pretending to be divine. Men building thrones where they draw the line. But the God I found no longer lives above it. Breathe inside everything. Pure, pure love. It don't demand worship. It don't punish curiosity. It don't divide the safe from the damned. It whisper truth to every heartbeat. Every sunrise, every breath. When I let go of their version, I finally met the real one. And I never walked away from God.